Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. And you're probably wondering, why is it a single shot of just Jeff? Well, Adham is sick today, and he will not be coming in. Stick will be filling in for him, and he should be here shortly. But for the meantime, you got me. So my apologies if you're upset. But I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Drop a like if you haven't already. Check out the website. We just posted a couple articles yesterday. Go show some love there. But for right now, we got a lot of things to get into. First, I want to start off with the Red Wings in the game last night against the Senators, which, if you watch the game, you know what happened. But we're going to get into a lot. The alternate uniforms coming in 2024, not this next season. You get alternate helmets next season. We're going to go through some mock drafts. We're going to do a player spotlight. Today I'm going to do Christian Gonzalez, corner out of Oregon. A lot of people's favorite corner. I'm going to break him down for you at 8:45. And then we got Stick coming in to help us do some mock drafts, some fan mock drafts, where we'll review some of your guys's, pull randomly off of Twitter. Again, we're going to try to get to every single one of you. I know I'm getting a ton on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. I promise we'll try to get to your mock drafts. There's a lot coming in. Adham has just as many, if not more, mock drafts coming his way. So it's a lot. So we're going to try to get to them all. We're going to talk a little bit of Aaron Rodgers and just NFL rumors later in the show. But before we do, man, the Red Wings last night, watching the game, compared to Monday, you saw them, the referees. We kind of talked about it 2 days ago. But last night, I'm watching with my brother. We're tuning in the Red Wings, and the game got out of control pretty quickly. You saw that. Kubalik scored, and then after that, it was kind of just a downfall. And the Red Wings, to me, the more, we had a nice run, but the more games as they go by, you start to realize, this team doesn't have enough star power. It's pretty obvious. If you watch Pittsburgh last night, just took down, I believe it was Nashville. They won 3-1. They kind of solidified their spot a little bit more in that wild card spot. The Red Wings are going to have to do some catching up. Right now, they have 64 points. Pittsburgh sits in that second wild card spot with 69 points. It's looking grim for the Red Wings. And you saw a lot of teams be busy towards the trade deadline, and the Red Wings, you weren't really sure if they were buyers or sellers. I think we know what they are right now. Probably most likely sellers, if I had to guess. Number one being Bertuzzi. But still, this is where we're at. I think the Red Wings had gave me enough great memories all season to where I'm willing to give them more of a pass. We wanted them to contend for that wild card spot. Even if they fall short, I think a lot of people, you can at least be okay with how the season's played out so far. I still think they should sign Larkin. I know he didn't have his greatest performance last night, and I saw a lot of people talking about it on Twitter. Larkin, to me, you talk about this team lacking talent, which I do believe. It kind of got, it was clear as day yesterday. You got to re-sign Larkin. Let's be honest here. Bertuzzi's future, to me, is a little more unclear. We'll see what his future holds. But the other news I wanted to get to is John Fox being hired as a defensive consultant for the Detroit Lions. And if you guys saw this news, it's a great hire. Don Capers actually held this role before. He was in the role last year, and now you get John Fox, somebody who, number one, knows how to coach defense, but number two, has a ton of experience in this league. He's been coaching for over 40 years, just football in general, specifically in the NFL, for about, 30 years, roughly. So, again, two-time Super Bowl winner. Went to the Super Bowl back in 2003 with the Panthers, and then most recently in 2013 with that Denver Broncos team, as you guys know. To me, this is significant. I know you look at defensive consultant roles, and it's like, okay, what does it do for me? John Fox was the defensive consultant last year for the Indianapolis Colts. They were a top 15 defense. I know they underperformed. They had some injuries, but still, just to get more help. Like Aaron Glenn, I like Aaron Glenn. We know his ability to develop young players. But just to have a veteran in the room like John Fox, somebody that knows how to coach defense, I think that's a great thing. And the fact that he chose the Lions as well. I'm sure John, as a defensive consultant, there was a lot of teams that would be interested. But the fact that he chose Detroit kind of solidifies what we've already been thinking. It's a young defense. You got assets. You're going to add more talent. And in free agency, Aiden, Malcolm, Kirby, these guys are going to get better. It's an attractive job. So John Fox, to me, it's a great hire. Again, if you're looking for, all the offseason, all to replace all of these coaches, right? You lost Deuce Staley, you lost John, I can't think of his name, Walsh or Wash. Thought it was Walsh. It's actually Wash. He left as well, went to Carolina. Those two were gone. And you weren't sure if you were going to keep Ben Johnson. But I think they've actually assembled a pretty good coaching staff, even hiring new guys. Trey Bly, new cornerback coach. You got John Fox. You got the defensive line coach out of Penn State, who's coached a lot of NFL talent. This is the biggest thing about Dan to me. And this is one thing that even through his tenure, you can criticize him about in-game decisions, which he's actually gotten better at. But the big thing for me is Dan's ability to hire coaches in general. And I know the mistake with Anthony Lynn. We saw it. We understand it. But for the most part, Dan's just ability to identify a good coach, to look and know he's a good human being. He can coach football. He can connect with players. He's done a pretty good job with that. Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, we liked, obviously, with Deuce Staley. He was a great hire, but he's gone now. Dan hired him, made him assistant head coach. And just now with Trey Bly, we all love the hire. Dan's been consistently doing this, right? His ability to hire assistant coaches, groom them. Like Ben, we're assuming will be a head coach. Aaron Glenn, we're assuming will be a head coach. Like if there's one thing you cannot say about Dan Campbell, it's his number one is people skills, but his ability to identify good head coaches. He's done that. I think he's grooming a lot that are part of the Detroit Lions assistant staff. But now that we got more of more people in the studio, before it was just me and Fish. Now we got Alex Westfall in here. Fish, you're back in the booth. I didn't get to say hi to you because you were busy holding it down in the booth. But how are you doing this morning?
I said
Fish?
hi. I waved my hand out there.
I know, but you were wrapped up. You got 14 things you're doing. So.
Oh well, actually, we have another person, ladies and gentlemen. Please announcing 6'2".
Oh, look it. We have a
from
special
University
guest.
of Detroit Mercy, Sam Stickday.
Sam Stickday.
First of all, I'm 6'4".
Yeah, you got
John Fish. I'm
Well,
6'4".
sorry, 6'4".
Don't put me down at 6'2", but
If you're
Okay, I'll put you at
6'4",
6 foot-
if you call me 6'3", I'm offended. Like
Yeah,
that, you
no,
got to add that inch
I had
matters.
to work hard to get here. You know how many gallons of milk I had to drink as a kid?
I mean, how do you not?
Which, by the way, Fish and I both share the love of milk.
It's a great
We had
drink.
the conversation last night.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
a great
fantastic.
drink. Yeah.
That's the conversation you and Fish had last night
Yeah.
about milk.
You don't want to know
No,
about the
no.
conversations me and Fish had. They're about sumo. They're about milk.
Yeah.
They're about New Zealand.
Great
Jesus.
country.
Well, welcome, Stick.
Well,
We were
it's not a bad
talking
thing.
about the new addition, John Fox, as a defensive consultant.
Love it.
Yeah, and the point I was making is one thing we can say about Dan, and a lot of things people bring up, his ability to hire coaches. And that's one thing I can respect. John Fox, you already had Don Capers in that role. Even losing Deuce in the defensive line coach, and you've relieved the duties of your cornerback coach, who he's brought in, Trey Bly, you got John Fox, you brought in that defensive line coach out of Penn State who's developed NFL talent. I think Dan's done a pretty good job with this, and Brad Holmes as well. He has something to do with it. But John Fox, what are your thoughts on the hiring itself with this defense?
Yeah, it's really not about Dan Campbell's ability to hire people. It's about the people that are actually wanting to come to Detroit to coach.
Sure.
And, this is something he did early on. And I think we were all a little concerned when Dan Campbell first got the job that, hey, it's a new guy, right? He's never been a real head coach. He had his interim run in Miami, but now all of a sudden he's the man. Well, then he insulated himself with other people who have already been the man to show him how to do that. And when you could keep putting on guys like a John Fox who's taken teams to the ultimate game, with the Carolina Panthers, I believe he was with before. And I just think it's a really just a nod to Dan Campbell and another nod to how many people want to come to Detroit, be a part of the fun now, be a part of the culture, and they can help too.
Yeah, and it's really started with Ben, right? Ben's decision to come back, and he said, I want to finish what we started, essentially, and play that playoff game at Ford Field. He mentioned how he went to a concert at Ford Field, and that kind of ignited the feeling of, wow, imagine this place packed. I want to get to that point with this team. And now we got John Fox, Aaron Glenn returning. It seems like that's been a consistent theme, not just with coaches, but with players, talking about Detroit. And now you're in conversations with Jalen Ramsey, which I've been hammering for. I know we had this conversation weeks ago, and I was more on edge with it. But the more I really sat down and think about it, I'm like, why wouldn't you want Jalen Ramsey a part of your secondary.
Well,
and now you're seeing them more in the rumors. One of the teams interested. It's always the Lions in there.
Yeah, and what's funny is even Jerry Jacobs is calling for it. And it's like, Jerry, dude, you may not be able to play if Jalen comes. Like, so shit. But even then, it's like, all right, these guys are all on board. Even if it means maybe they take a little step back, they want to bring in the best players. And yeah, I mean, we've talked about Jalen Ramsey around Woodward Sports for a long time now. Yeah. At first, it was kind of, why the hell would you want this? But then, look at their defense from last year.
You kidding me?
Secondary was not great, especially early in the season. So what else are you addressing? And if you can go get a Jalen Ramsey to address one of your biggest weaknesses, go get him.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. People like, and I've heard this because we did some mock drafts, and people were like, I want multiple guys this year in the draft starting on my defense. And the thing I think of is, if you're the Lions and we assume they'll be, if not favorites, second, slightly behind the Vikings to win the NFC North. If you're in the conversation for winning your division, you got to be able to make these types of moves. You can't rely on just draft picks to come in and play good right away. You're going to need some veterans to mix in, especially defensively. Jalen Ramsey, Bobby Wagner, those are the type of guys that you look for when you're trying to make some noise in the NFC. Look how wide open the NFC is, especially from a quarterback perspective. Like Jared Goff, to me, the second best quarterback in the NFC. Just look at the quarterbacks. I believe it. Then if you're in that type of mode, and that's kind of the landscape of the NFC, you got to be aggressive and go make moves like this. You got to go out and get a Jalen Ramsey. That's why he's going to be highly, touted. I don't know how much he's going to ask for, or the Rams, will ask for. But if it's like 2 second-round picks, I know Adham didn't want to give up 2 second-rounders.
Done.
I'm pulling that trigger.
Easy.
Get it done, man.
Easy.
Especially with Brad's ability to find talent late in drafts. I don't think, if this is previous Lions, number one, second-round picks have never worked out in Detroit. So if you're going off that logic, then it doesn't matter. But with Brad, he's going to be able to find a Malcolm, a James Houston, an Amon-Ra, 4th and 6th rounds. Screw those second-round picks. Give me a number 1 shutdown corner, and you could throw on any wide receiver 1 every single week. And in your own division, you got Justin Jefferson.
I think that in every professional sport that they covet draft picks way too much.
Could be true.
If you can go get a proven commodity, go get them. Mm-hmm. It's worth overpaying with a draft pick that may never pan out. I mean, you see it in the NBA. Top 5 picks don't pan out. You see first-round picks in the NFL not work all the time. So if you can go get a proven commodity, why? Why wouldn't you? Right. Like, if I told you, hey, we're going to spend 2 second-round draft picks on Jalen Ramsey over the next 2 years, but I can guarantee you're going to get a Jalen Ramsey. Would you sacrifice those 2 picks?
Oh, hell yeah.
Right. Instead of, hey, you're going to give out these 2 picks in the second round. I can't guarantee either of them will pass, because Pascal from last year came on at the end of the season, but we really haven't seen what he can become. I'd trade 2 Pascals for a Ramsey.
Would you trade Levi Ozarike and Josh Pascal for a Jalen Ramsey?
Today, tomorrow, twice on Sunday.
Those are your 2 second-round picks. So, and again, we don't know what Pascal could be a decent player, but to your point, you draft guys in the second. If we're going off second round, you're drafting those guys to be Jalen Ramsey. So if I can get Jalen Ramsey, I'm going to do it. And I love this comment, too. Mr. Ray says, Ramsey is 28, by the way. People act like he's a running back who's run off the tread of his tires. Agree with you 100%. And by the way, people who can't comprehend getting a number 1 corner for the Lions, I got the place for you. It's SMA, a sports marketing agency. Helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Goff, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
The sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Let me tell you about our friends at the Fowling Warehouse in Hamtramck, because it is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. Check it all out, fowlingwarehouse.com. Welcome back here to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. It is your host today, Jeff Iafrate, alongside me, Sam Stick Day, my good friend. And we're here to talk about, number one, a lot of things revolving around the Lions, but this specifically. Did you see the rumors yesterday? Or that's not rumors, it's official. Lions will wear alternate helmets in 2023 and will get new alternate uniforms in 2024. Not next season. But the next season, you'll get those uniforms. But you're getting a helmet at least. You're getting a small sample size of what a uniform change looks like.
You gotta love when you get some helmet, right?
You just
gotta love when you get that helmet.
You're not wrong, but again, I think this question isn't more about the alternate helmets because, I mean, okay, the question would probably be, what kind of uniform changes would you be looking to see? And I've had this conversation before. I want the Lions desperately to bring back black. I think black on these Lions uniforms are just so sick. And again, you see the Pistons bring back teal, and the teal era, as we remember, was a disaster.
Well, you're reliving it. And I hope you guys were happy with the teal. This is what you wanted, and that's what it does to basketball teams.
All right. Well, you're not wrong. But the Lions, for example, the black unis. Not the greatest memories. But again, you didn't have really great memories in any unis
I was gonna say,
besides the 90s. So to the question I'm asking, what kind of uniform changes are you looking to see?
I don't care. I mean, I'm not 12 anymore. Are
the current uniforms, any of the schemes, are you getting sick of them?
Well, I hate the white uniforms.
Okay, so you hate the white. We'll start there.
I think the Detroit Lions white uniforms are the softest uniforms in the NFL. I absolutely despise them on every single level. But with that being said, as our friend D-Mac, who sits in this chair from 11 to 1 to say, there's a caveat. Last year, they looked pretty damn good in those white uniforms going up to Green Bay and ending that season.
Ass. Yeah, you're
so
right.
Maybe my hate for those white uniforms has come from the Lions just never been able to get it done on the road, so I haven't seen them perform in those white uniforms. But uniform changes don't really excite me anymore. Logo changes, the Lions have been through that, been through the black uniforms, those are kind of cool. You know, when you're playing Madden, it's fun to flip through the pewter uniforms and the old throwbacks that Barry used to wear and Billy Sims used to wear back in the day. But yeah, I don't care. I don't care what these guys are wearing. You could change the colors to pink, you could change the colors to purple, you could put them in yellow. As long as they're out on that field kicking ass, I don't care what the Lions are wearing anymore. I'm past, caring about our uniforms. I want wins.
Yeah, and again, that's the most important answer. But the fun answer would be, let's get some new unis. And Ryan Ermanni brought this up. He's been bringing this up for a week now, that the teams that have changed their unis, I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't have an explanation for it, but teams that change their unis typically have some sort of success the following season. And he brought up quite a few examples. I mean, he had teams off the top of his head ready. So I don't know if it's the feeling you're playing in a new uni, there's a different, feeling of you got swag, you got new uniforms. But there's a lot of teams, once you change your unis, it's like a breath of fresh air.
Well, I will tell you this. My 11-year-old football team for the Walled Lake Braves, we had white uniforms, and we won one game that season. The next year, we switched to black uniforms, undefeated. So there is some truth to it. When I was 12 years old, we went undefeated in those black unis. So there is some truth to the psyche of it.
Yeah, the 11-year-old stick, that is fact.
11 to 12-year-old, wearing white uniform to wearing the black uniform, undefeated, won one game. So there is some truth to the psychology behind it. But if they're going to throw back to any uniform, I'd like them to throw back to that Barry era, to the Jerry Ball era, to the Chris Spielman era, where they had the big fat numbers with the big fat outline around them. I thought those were kind of cool. That'd be a nice little throwback. But let's be honest, the Lions uniforms have never been sexy.
No, that's true. And by the way, the teams, because there's other teams that are also rumored to be changing their uniforms. The Eagles, the Seattle Seahawks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh yeah,
so it's
gotta make money.
And you've seen teams. Even the Bengals last year with the white alternates.
Those were
sweet. If you can, those unis, when you go out and you play in those, there's got to be another confidence level you go up in. Like, unless you go out with like the Lions unis, they're all grays or the whites. I mean, it's at this point they've had pretty much the same uni since 2017, so they are getting like a little. I don't want to say old, but at the end of the
Stale.
day, stale's the right word. You want something fresh, so I'm all for it. Now, do I want Rod designing it? Probably not. But at the end of the day, who cares? I think the Lions are gonna do Lions fans well.
Let
and
Big
get these
Sean
taken
take
care of.
him over.
Big
Like,
Sean
Big Sean
would crush this.
Or
Pistons.
Ty Mopkins. Let's have Ty Mopkins do the unis.
Ty Mopkins would absolutely destroy these, and that's why I love that the Pistons have done that with Big Sean. Allow those guys to design the unis. Hell, even I don't give a damn. You can have Kelvin Johnson or Barry design them. I don't give a damn. And let those guys design them.
In the chat, they pointed out that Dan Campbell played for the black uniforms, so those may be the Dan Campbell throwbacks that we have next year, and I'm okay with that. Like it's fine. Switch it up. It's cool. But to me, it's for the kids. It's to sell more jerseys. It's to sell more merch. As long as the product on the field is good, I don't care.
Yeah, no, and I'm in the same boat as you. I want to read some of these comments, too. John says, LOL, 6-year-old unis. Oh, my God, call the police. Well, when you say it like that, John, you got a point. Mark Royal says, yes, let someone else design the uniforms. Chris Babel says, have Sana design them. Yeah, Sana, my God, if he took over for the Lions and took over those unis.
Or you know what? Have a bunch of kindergartners design them and put like a scribbled lion on the helmet. Like, why? I mean,
doesn't Jared do that for his charity? He has kids like design clothes. You can just have them design them. All right, just have those guys design our unis. Screw it, I don't care.
Why not? If it's just to sell them and it's just to have some fun, I'm okay with it. But really, what can you do with the Lions uniforms that hasn't already been done? Besides, they've gone the all gray. They've gone the all white. We've seen that. I don't think they've ever went all black. Because even when they were wearing black, it was black top and I believe silver bottoms.
Yep, correct.
Maybe the all black would be cool. And I know, Fish, you would love that from New Zealand, right?
Sure, yeah, I would.
Fish, what kind of unis would you like? What changes?
Have they done the all blue? Like blue everywhere?
Yep, we've seen the blue.
Yeah.
Like blue pants even?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, maybe just try mix and match. Maybe go blue and black. That might not be the most pleasing color, but maybe blue top, black pants, and then you can go white helmet if you want. Or
white helmet.
Just swag it out.
The white helmet I saw.
Yeah, you can go white helmet.
The Lions white helmet, and that kind of looked cool. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but
And I love this comment. Well, Jesse asked,
are they going to change the helmet color?
They can change. They can do whatever the hell they want. Honestly.
Yeah, you can.
Well, but I'm saying realistically, like they're not going to change the Lions logo, are they?
No, not the logo.
Okay.
They've updated that twice, like in the past 15 years.
Jesse says, you guys think they need to take off the WCF off the arm sleeve? It's a tough topic.
I mean, it's been on there a long time, but at the end of the day, that is Billy Ford, and that's the guy that kind of brought the Lions along.
You gotta get new ownership to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Sheila ever ripping her grandfather's name off the uniforms.
Even though
that's got to be a tough decision.
She did take the Ford off her name.
She did take Ford off her name, but
very interesting.
Doesn't change the bloodline.
No, it does not. She's still Sheila Ford Hemp.
Yep. So I don't know. That's a tough decision. I mean, but how long do you keep it on, right? Like the Pistons right now have 2 6s on their uniforms.
Yeah, because you got the Bill Russell and now you got Lanier. So it's an interesting situation.
Yeah.
Robin says wait, hold on.
Oh, Sheila's dad. My fault, not grandpa. Sorry. When I think of William Clay Ford, I just picture him as old at all times.
Well, you're right. Yeah. Old at all times. I mean,
you're not wrong.
Her father. You were close.
Yep.
Steven says, bring back the another one bites the dust theme for Lions intro. I mean, Dan Campbell running out there to another one bites the dust. Yeah, sign me up for that.
I would love a Lions song like these guys to like do like the what was that? The '85 Bears.
What do you mean they have one roaring down the field?
A mighty team that will not yield. I like that song. But I'm talking like the Super Bowl Shuffle or something like that.
I may have forgot the rest of the words. Forward
Go
down the
field,
field, game
with honor. You don't know that song?
Well, I mean, I have an idea of it. What am I supposed to have it in my head every single second?
No, Stick, I can't even talk.
It's only when they score a touchdown.
You don't know that song?
See, there we go.
Listen, and the people in the chat, does everybody in the chat remember that song off the top of your head by heart? I mean, I don't know. If I'm in the arena, I'll start singing along. But I
I
can't
know
just recall the
75%
entire song
of it, and
off the top of my
also
head.
they don't show it on the TV because it's after a touchdown, so they're in the advert break.
Yeah, I guess it is an in-house experience.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been to a lot of
Yeah,
games,
so
you're
if
not
you've
really.
never gone to a Lions game, you don't even know what's the thing.
It's not like you're chilling on your couch singing with on Thanksgiving.
100%. I know
down
every
the
word of that
field.
song. I do not know that song.
There we go.
Heck no.
Okay, see, thank you, guys.
Absolutely not. No, I need the lyrics. No, I forget it exists when I leave Ford Field.
There we go.
I sing every bar after the win. That's my boy,
see?
Andrew. Never heard it? Never heard it. Alex Merrill.
Yeah, that's a lie. I mean, everyone's heard it. You might not know the words, but everyone's heard it.
And Rex says, "Oh yes, I am, Jeff," meaning he's singing at Thanksgiving in that whole song in his living room. Which you know what, I respect. I just personally, I'm not singing the Lions the theme song. There's a lot of talented artists in Detroit, by the way. If you need a song, you'll find one. I mean, trust me, it's not going to be hard to do.
Have Kid Rock or Eminem put together a new fight song. Kevin Bell from the WoodwardSports.com chat.
That would be unreal. And I know they have.
People would hate it.
Hey,
I already love now when they have Eminem playing at Ford Field before games. Like it gets the juices flowing.
Didn't Kid Rock get banned from his songs at Ford Field or something?
I don't know.
I
Probably.
heard that was a thing over the summer that his music was getting banned from Ford. I don't know if they overturned it or not.
Why'd they get my man Kid Rock? What happened? What'd he do?
His politics.
Yeah, I was going to say. I
Fish didn't want to say it. Look at that face. Fish. When you bring up politics,
I kind of forgot, and then I remembered why, and I was like, oh, that's why.
Well, speaking of making changes to your helmet,
but I heard Kid
Rock's
Rock's
song. Where can I go to
song.
get changes to my helmet stick?
To your helmet?
It's this helmet of hair I currently have.
And I'm impressed by how well your hair is growing back too, Jeff. So now you can finally take it to Lady Jane's and get that cut that you so deserve. Plus, they're giving you an opportunity to put a down payment on your dream home up to $200,000 for a down payment on the dream home. Can you imagine that? Just rolling in and be like, yeah, I got my 20%. Boom. Compliments of Lady Jane's. It's that easy. All you got to do, come into any of their Metro Detroit locations, or actually any of the locations around the country, and walk in and get treated like a king, and then get qualified for that up to $200,000. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
We're back. Morning Woodward show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Stick Day filling in for Adham Beydoun, and we're going to get to some fan mock
Fish
drafts. Yeah, by the way, Adham Beydoun, hope you feel better. He's not feeling too good this morning.
And
so
I got to be honest, I love Adham. It's Fish's last week. You're up on the desk now. This is kind of like a throwback to the original Morning Woodward show.
I know, isn't it? We were just talking about that actually a couple days ago. Fish was giving us his best memories, and a lot of them came from when you were up on the desk.
Really?
The most thing I remember is, of course, December 7th when I first started. We were out in the Lady Jane's lobby.
Yeah.
Orange juice and mimosas.
Yeah, it was the first Victory Monday here for the Detroit Lions, and we popped some champagne.
The first one, wow. The first one ever at Woodward Sports?
It was me, Chrissy T, and was that Joey or Corey at that time?
I think it was Joey.
It was Joey? Okay. And then, of course, Jeff was coming along for the ride, and Mr. Fish, day one of his internship, he was a day oneer, man.
Adam told us at that time that Fish waited to cash that check you guys gave him weeks, and you had to consistently remind him.
Not weeks. It was months.
Are you serious?
We gave Fish a signing bonus for his internship because, we're a startup. We do unpaid internships. You put in your work, and then eventually you're going to get paid here at Woodward Sports.
That's how most companies operate.
Wait,
and then
months?
So we give Fish this nice $2,000 signing bonus because he worked a couple months for us. So we're like, you know what, here, for all your hard work, plus we want to sign you on. Gave him a big check, came in here and took a picture.
Yep.
Like 2 months later, accounting comes to me. They're like, can you tell Fish to cash his check? It's kind of screwing with our account.
Well, I think I did at that point.
It was months.
Yeah, I know that, but I think at the point they came to me, I cashed it.
I was told, wait, months? Doesn't a check have, there's a certain, like, date?
A year.
Yeah.
Oh,
is it a year?
It's usually a year.
You
Year or
waited
6
months.
months. But still, like, we were getting, like, first of all, it just showed me that Fish about his money. Like, Fish just takes that check, sets it on the pile of cash that he has in his parents' basement, hops in his Lexus, and drives off into the sunset.
Yeah, that is unreal. Fish, I'll give you a lot of credit, man. I would have been the first day when cashed that baby. But anyway, moving on. I want to go through some fan mock drafts. Alex, if you can. This actually first time I'm doing it with you. We can react to some of these mock drafts. And
I'll be gentle.
Stick in similarly, but in terms of the quarterback conversation, you are no way, no how, stay the hell away from a quarterback
You're
at 6 or 18.
smoking crack if you think we should buy a quarterback with our first picks.
So, yeah.
And not good crack, like 6 Mile crack.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So,
not the high-end stuff.
This is real stuff.
Yeah,
okay,
this is not the cinnamon flavor.
Alex, throw up the first mock draft. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so I don't know who this is from. Obviously, Adam sent me a couple of these, and I don't know where they came from. If this is yours, say it in the chat. So he went with. I don't see any trades. He stayed put. Didn't make any trades at all. At 6, he takes Devon Witherspoon, Kalijah Cansey. Okay. Deontay Banks, which I don't know a ton about. I don't mind it. I would probably love to see a linebacker there, but anyway, you move on. Tanner McKee in the 2nd round. Wow. Okay. Keanu Benton.
But it got rated an A+.
Yeah, and that's PFF. I guess they look at value. Like Tanner McKee's 2nd round pick, okay. And you guys, by the way, as you're looking at these mocks, put your grade in the chat, A through F. I mean, what do you guys grade the mock? Keanu Benton, which I actually don't mind, decent. There you go in the 3rd round. Cam Jones at linebacker, Luke Schoonmaker, and Jake Moody. The Jake Moody one is obvious. We love it.
Dude,
6th round,
I see that on so many mocks for the Lions. Jake Moody
awesome.
late.
I love it. I don't mind this draft overall, to be honest with you. I don't hate it. Maybe there's some preferences. But I like Banks. He doesn't mean he's a bad player. But what do you think about that quarterback in the 2nd? I guess it's not even a flyer. That's 55. So you're kind of it's a 2nd round pick.
Yeah, I was going to say
you're taking on Tanner McKee. And do you love? Listen, Tanner McKee to me, I don't know too much about him. Clearly, PFF loves him, but PFF loves a lot of different players. Yeah, I'm probably staying away from Tanner McKee in the 2nd round. I don't know if I love this one.
Yeah, looking at this draft, understand it. That's a position of need. That's somebody that can immediately come in and start playing. I love the Cansey pick. That's him going up at the number 6 spot. Like, people reaching for him there. So if you can get him at 16, I love that move right there. Dante Banks, I'm not sure if you want to double down on cornerback if you're going to go with a Dante Banks in that situation. Yeah. I think if you're going to double down on quarterback or cornerback, they shouldn't double up on corner in the 1st round. So maybe just take a corner and maybe take another one later in the draft. Just take a flyer on somebody. Yeah. I like there's the corners this year. It's not like last year where it was Sauce and Stingley that are going to go top 5. Like, this is a little different group in itself. I don't think it's because Devon Witherspoon is an absolute, game changer, or he's going to come in and be historically great. Just the corner clash of Gonzalez, Witherspoon, Joey Porter, Brian Branch, who's kind of a slot safety, he's a hybrid. Those guys are all kind of in the same breath. So to take Porter at 6, I'm not as intrigued by it as I was a couple weeks ago. But Alex, that one I'd probably give a B. If you're spending the 2nd round pick on a quarterback, you get an F automatically. Not getting the guy, I'm not wasting any draft capital on that, especially what we've seen Brad Holmes been able to do with his draft capital. Why would you spend it on a McKee? He's a nice player, but I could get him in the 4th, 5th round, I feel.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. And Alex, are we still good on the stream? Hopefully it fixes itself. But you could pull up the other draft. You got 2 more we're going to look at today. So we'll see what they're cooking up here. Okay, another no trade mock. There you go, Devon Witherspoon
again
at 6, Brian Bresee at 18, Steve Avila, which I don't hate.
No more Avilas in Detroit, please.
Yeah, well, if you're going off that,
didn't we learn our lesson?
If you're basing it off that, you're absolutely correct.
I have brand bias when it comes to Avilas.
Yeah, so you got Steve Avila, 55, Henley, So, and that's a linebacker that's shooting more up draft boards. At least
see, now I like the Garrett Williams pick. Like, if you're going to go for another cornerback, that's a good spot to get him right there. And I like Garrett Williams too.
Yeah, and then you got Aiden O'Connell, Dwayne McBride. I like Dwayne McBride a lot. He was in my mock this Monday. Aiden O'Connell in the 6th.
So are we just drafting a quarterback just to say we drafted a quarterback at this point? Like, the two names that they have thrown up there, like, do you expect those to be game changers? Do you expect those to fill in for Jared Goff if anything happens? I think that's what I'm saying. Like, people they're insulating the position, but for what reason? They're doing it just to do it, not because it's improving the team, not because that's going to be our future.
Right.
And that should be the point of drafting a guy.
Yeah, and I think more of this is recency bias. It has to be. For Mr. Irrelevant last year, Brock Purdy, he was taken as the last pick in the draft. I think people now are looking at the idea of, well, maybe you could find a guy like that late in the draft. And Aiden O'Connell, I like him at Purdue. It's in the 6th round, and I get typically in the 6th round you're taking flyers, but knowing what Brad has done in the 6th round, yeah, you probably think to yourself you probably could have found a different player, but it is what it is.
I would rather spend a little bit more money on like a veteran backup than go for this rookie like in a 4th, 5th round. Like, that's why I just stay away from quarterbacks unless you can get Stroud, who I don't even love. But he may be the guy.
But, yeah, you can understand why they'd take him, even though you don't agree with it.
Yeah. But outside of those guys, like, I'm hearing Anthony Richardson, the guy that threw 50% in college. In college? You think that's going to get better in the NFL when the game speeds up and the schemes are better? Like, he's got the athleticism, but you can't throw 50% completion percentage in college. You're going to see an immediate regression when he gets to the pros. So now you're talking a 40% completion percentage? What?
Yeah, he needs to go to, number one, the right situation, and he's not. Maz told me the other day he's ready to play right away. I'm like, Maz
thought Malik Willis should go at number 2. So let's preface that. But I'm
like, Maz, he is not. Anthony Richardson, number 1, is a project. Adam went through him yesterday. We broke him down. He's a project player. I get why a team would take him because the arm talent, the athleticism, the size. But would I take him at 6? No. I would not.
Name a comp that's worked out like Anthony Richardson. You can't. There isn't a guy with that low of completion percentage that really has ever come to the NFL.
The big one you hear, which I don't like using because it's sort of an anomaly, is Josh Allen. But if you're relying on him to be Josh Allen, that's not a great it's not a great sample size. You got one quarterback. So that's the problem I have. I get why people would be enamored by his talent. But at the end of the day, I'm not a huge fan. I'm probably more in favor of Will Levis, even though I don't like Will Levis either. If I had to rank them, I like Will Levis a slightly bit more than Anthony Richardson.
That's the thing. You just look back at the last 5 years of quarterbacks who've come out, and there has been a couple of home runs. But outside of that, there's been a lot of strikeouts and a lot of base hits. Like, you'd say Tua was not a strikeout, but he wasn't a home run by any stretch of the imagination. Mm-hmm. Herbert, regular season champion. Herbert's turning into Phillip Rivers before our eyes, could get it done in the regular season, but once they get to the playoffs, that's not going to happen. So out of that entire draft, which had much better quarterback prospects, really only one paid off. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you can name Burrow, you can name Trevor Lawrence, and that's really it over the top tier guys that have come out. So I don't know. You know me, I'm a Jared Goff guy. I love Jared Goff. I think he's the guy that can get the Lions to where they need to be. If he didn't prove it to you last year, I don't know what else you need to see. Another year of it? Okay, we're going to see another year of it. But I think if you're just drafting a quarterback just to have one on the roster, and you're not drafting the guy that's going to elevate and be better than Jared Goff, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your pick.
Yeah, and again, that's when you look at Anthony Richardson, you see tools, like you see the arm talent. Okay, you think that could be better than Goff. The athleticism, you think that could be better than Goff. But Anthony Richardson, to me, there's two things. One, you see the high of highs, right? You see the talent he possesses. You saw the shootout he had with Kentucky. And then you see lows. Lows. And that's what scares me. I mean, even Patrick Mahomes, who had to sit for 2 years, never had those lows. So, again, everyone has their preference. You can have your preference. For me personally, I'm not a huge Anthony Richardson guy, but we'll see. He'll be a top 10 pick. There is no doubt about it.
Easy and his bad takes are in the chat. just to be aware, Easy and his bad takes. I don't know what he's talking about. He disagrees with me on something. Yes, Stick also loved Jim Caldwell. Let that sink in.
Well, rightfully so. I mean,
the best winning percentage of any coach in Lions history. I liked him.
I don't think there's a reason to hate Jim Caldwell. I can see if you maybe thought
there is, because he proved you wrong.
Well, I can see if you were sick of
winning.
Well, I guess if you call 9-7 a form of mediocrity.
I call
Lions,
that winning.
Yeah, in Lions franchise history, it is winning. But 9-7, you're. There's no reason to hate Jim Caldwell.
The people that hate Jim Caldwell, I just think they have issues that they never dealt with while they were growing up, and they don't know what a real winner looks like. And it was Jim Caldwell, and this isn't because I'm making it up. These are just stats. He had the best winning percentage of any regular season coach since the 40s.
Yeah, it's factual information. Yep. Alex, pull up the last mock draft before we go to break here. I just want to break this down quickly. We have one more, correct? Let's see. Okay. So some trades. Interesting.
Thank you.
This is a little too many trades for my taste, but we'll go through it anyway.
Ooh,
so you trade up to 3, you give them 6, and it looks like a second-round pick. I'd have to double-check there. I can't see. It's far away. But you trade for number 3. You get Jalen Carter. Love it. Wait. They don't pick at 60. Oh, you traded? Okay, so you traded 18 for Ramsey. I see that. Okay.
Then they traded up.
You traded Carter. 18 for Ramsey. You traded up. There's a lot going on in this mock draft. I'm going to be honest with you.
They received the number 3 for the number 6 and 55 pick from the Cardinals, and that's how they moved up to get Jalen Carter, which I don't mind. I don't mind that. But then they also traded for Jalen Ramsey. They gave up the 18th pick to the Rams. I think it's going to take a little bit more than that.
Yeah. So. There's a lot going on.
But with that being said, let's just judge this mock draft like this is reality, right?
Okay, so you got Ramsey.
This is a good mock draft.
You got Ramsey. You got Jalen Carter. You got Steve Avila. You got your guard. You got Eli Ricks. I actually don't mind. I like Eli Ricks a lot. Dorian Williams. Don't know a ton about him. Kendre Miller. Carl Brooks. I don't mind it. I would probably give this one another B if I had to say so myself. I like some of the players. Some of the players I don't know anything about. Like Sterling Thompson, the 5th, UAB. Don't know a ton about him. Andre Iosivas, that one's tough. Out of Princeton, I don't know that guy either. So again, I know Carl Brooks, I know Kendre Miller, I know a little bit of Dorian Williams. So for the most part, I like this draft. I just think there's too many trades. I don't think this will actually happen.
I'm just going to focus on the high end of this draft. If you can get Jalen Carter and Ramsey on this team, do it. That would be a successful draft.
I mean, yeah, are you kidding me? Jalen Carter and Jalen Ramsey, I mean, that alone, your defense immediately is much, much better.
Yeah, so that's where I'm going to judge this draft on, is just the top end of it, because those are some savvy moves if you can make them. I don't think you can fleece L.A. again.
Yeah, I would probably give this one. You know what? We got to add Jalen Ramsey into this, I guess. I would say B+. You got Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if I love the 18th pick for it, but, again, one pick, and you get Jalen Ramsey and another pick. Okay. If the Rams are willing to do that, let's do it.
Yeah, I don't think the Rams would give you a third back.
Yeah.
But either way, I said, if you can get both those Jalen's on the squad, I like it. We're living in a fantasy world. That's what these are all about, but I'll take it.
You know what? And when I go through these mock drafts, I need one drink to get me up in the morning, and that is Cintron. And let me tell you about our friends over at Cintron, because it is an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand with a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages in premium bottled water. Cintron is fashionable, functional, and fun if you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste. Cintron is your top choice. Buy online at drinkcintron.com. It's also available at Amazon.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. If you haven't already, drop a like. If you're watching on the website, check out. We have great merchandise, articles. Check it all out, man. The website there's a plethora of things to do on there. But we're going to get into my player spotlight today. And that is Christian Gonzalez, corner out of Oregon. Fish, you know the deal. This guy projected at a lot of different spots. I've seen him as high as 6. I've seen him in the teens. I mean, I know some people, especially at this network, are big fans of Christian Gonzalez. I like the player itself, and I want to break him more down, Alex, if you could. There you go. Christian Gonzalez, obviously you know the height, 6'2", 201, a bigger frame, long arms. This year, 60% completion percentage allowed. When targeted, allowed 400 yards this season. Defense rating 81.2. The key traits: high upside, prototypical awareness. And I want to start with high upside because I think that's what most GMs are going to be looking for when they look at Christian. They see the frame, they see the size, they see the wingspan. And he's a lengthy corner. And again, for a guy, you look at last year, Sauce or Derek Stingley, guys that are lengthy, guys that are long, that's what GMs are looking for at the corner position. I think Christian checks a lot of that off. He was great this year, especially according to PFF. You look at some of his just statistics and ratings. I mean, he had an 81.4 coverage grade overall, 75.8 run defense grade. So again, he's overall just solid. Lined up at a couple of different positions at Oregon. He played corner majority, but he did line up at the slot. He's a versatile defender. You can play him in a lot of different positions. One thing I did like too, and the number one thing, is his instincts. I mean, he was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, went to Colorado, transferred to Oregon, had his by far best season, 4 interceptions this season. It's the instincts. Like, you see that when you watch Christian Gonzalez, the instincts, the athleticism, the length. The big thing I think teams are concerned with, and I think the biggest question for him, is people bring up that dog, like the dog in you. And you look at Jalen Ramsey, yeah, he checks off that box. Christian, as a young player, I don't think he's even 21 yet. I think he's almost 21. That's one thing when people watch him on tape. It's questioning if he has that, the fire under him. But again, if you can get that can be developed in a player. Just because he doesn't have it right now doesn't mean he can't have it. So I think if that's your only weakness, I mean, you're pulling at straws here. So, again, like the player a lot. I think, again, he has a chance to go as high as 6. I think the Lions are definitely going to have to consider him. I don't think he'll make it to their 18th pick. I really do not believe that. I mean, we brought up Brian Branch yesterday. I think he could maybe slide to that 18th pick. Christian Gonzalez, there's no way in hell he slide down to that pick. A couple things, especially PFF, if you go to his overall description, the number one thing in the negative is what I brought up, the killer instinct. I mean, that's, again, you're pulling at straws. It's the athleticism, it's the long arms, it's, the hip fluidity, which Adham brought up with Keely Ringo. That's something that Christian Gonzalez does.
Better than Jamal Williams' hip fluidity?
Maybe not as good as Jamal Williams, because
that's penalty
that's
worthy.
Hip fluidity to a T.
That's 15 yards unsportsmanlike fluidity.
Yeah, no, he's not touching Jamal Williams. But again, it's a player that I have a lot of fun watching, and a player that, in the group of corners in this year's draft, there hasn't been anyone that separated themselves from the group by far. So the combine is going to be important for these guys to show off and show their speed, show off in the drills, so that way they can really separate themselves. Like, Gonzalez has a real opportunity. If he goes to the combine and has a great combine, he will be the first corner taken off the board. And same goes for Witherspoon and so on and so forth. Joey Porter, like those guys, it's going to be a big week this week at the combine. So we'll see what he can do. But there you go, Christian Gonzalez. Stick, I'm not asking you to, because you might not know a ton about him, but just overall,
how dare you, Jeff?
At corner.
How dare you?
Did you watch Oregon this year? You might have.
I mean, listen, I watch my stuff. Okay. I watch tape.
Oh, you watch? Okay.
I watch tape.
All right,
I sit in the back on YouTube and I Google these guys.
So what do you think? At 6, Christian Gonzalez, you like it?
He's one of the guys that if you want a cornerback, that's the guy you can take at 6. I mean, to me, we've already seen Witherspoon, Mott, you got Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr., and I like Ringo too. That may be a little bit of a reach, a guy you can get later on. Kind of scares me when you say he doesn't have that dog in him and you can teach having that dog in him. I don't think that's a teachable trait. I think that's something you either have or you don't. So that's one thing that does scare me about it, especially if a guy can't turn it on and have that dog in him against lesser competition. When you're playing against grown-ass men who all they do is work out all day and figure out how to pound you into the ground, you better have that dog in you, because it's a battle of attrition in the NFL. We know that. You have to be semi-crazy to run full speed into other human beings that are monsters. And the only thing that really scares me about Gonzalez, I love his coverage. I just don't love his run-stopping ability. And I think that's where that dog comes in, right? Like, those are the guys that will come up, fill the gap, tackle aggressively. I don't know if he has that in him, and when you're looking at everybody in that type of ranking, the top 3 or 4 guys, to me, the run defense scares me a lot about him.
Yeah, and that's fair. Again, for Christian Gonzalez, and I'm going to read some of these comments because I think people are bringing up great points. Somebody just said, that Oregon defense was awful, which, again, you're more so looking at the player itself,
Yeah.
but I get what you're saying. Dad with Tourette says that completion percentage is high, man. You said Philippines on Demand says, no, you can't teach someone to be a dog. You either got it or you don't. And then you see LFG says, better mid-round value corners than Gonzalez, 6'2", right from Oregon State, who played well versus Jordan Addison. And I agree with you about Wright. But still, Gonzalez, he will be a top 15 pick, no doubt. I don't think saying you can find a similar player in the second or third round, I don't know if that's the case, but certainly there's a lot to nitpick with any of these corners. I mean, it's just the truth. Drago says, this is who I want, length at defensive back. Mr. Ray says, Gonzalez looked shell-shocked in that Georgia game earlier in the year. Makes me worry about him. And that's the big thing, too. And you brought up Kelee Ringo. He's probably going to fall deep in this draft. I remember last year we talked about Kelee Ringo. He's going to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
After watching him at Georgia this year with that defensive line, that defense, and he still didn't play, at times up to his standards, it is a little worrying. And I think that's why guys like Gonzalez have shot up the draft
leaped
boards.
him. Yeah, because he's down a lot. He's like 5th now when you're looking at cornerbacks to be drafted.
Which is crazy because just a year ago he was regarded as the best corner coming in this year.
It was all good just a week ago, man. Like that's what happens.
Fat Joe, yesterday's price, not today's price.
Not today's price.
Same thing, man.
But that's exactly what happens. Sometimes you're risking it all by going back for that other year.
Yeah.
And that's why you see sometimes players have great years and want to sit out. You saw it with a Jadeveon Clowney a couple, 5-10 years ago, that he had a monster year and he was just like, I'm just going to take this year off so I can get my eligibility and then I can be drafted.
I love this too. Bringing Funny says, guess the follow-up question is, how much dog is actually in him?
Herb
says,
get the x-rays back.
You can teach dog, you can't teach speed. Dad with Tourette says, Witherspoon was left on an island for 2 years in the Big Ten. Give me Witherspoon. Which is true. And I know Big Ten corners, I mean, we drafted Jeff Okudah at 3rd overall.
But what Big Ten wide receivers great either. I mean, besides Ohio State. I'll give Ohio State
Yeah, they got some
credit.
dogs at Ohio State.
Yeah. Besides that, who was blowing your doors off at wide receiver?
I don't got too much for you. So
you got nothing for me.
Yeah. So you throw my hands up for that one.
Right.
LFG says 23 NFL draft later value cornerback. Oh, he's heard that right. By the way, there is nice corners. Personally, I'm obsessed with Emmanuel Forbes. It's one of my favorite players. I told a story last year. My buddy who goes to Mississippi State was like, "Hey, man." Like, he's a Broncos fan. I'm a Lions fan. He knows I'm looking for a corner. And he brought up, like, hey, man, Emmanuel Forbes, like, this is before this season, too. He's like, he's a stud. Like, look him up, watch film. And the more I've watched him, I'm like, yeah, this guy's a straight dog. Has that dog in him. Elite ball skills, like, checks all those boxes. And you could probably get him in the second round. So, to his point, I agree that you can get some pretty good corners in the second round. But this is the problem. If you wait to draft a corner at 18, you're not getting your pick. You're getting whoever essentially is there for you. You could have Gonzalez, Witherspoon, and Porter all gone for you by 18. You could. So that's something you're going to have to get comfortable with if that's what you're going to do, if you're going to go defensive line or quarterback at 6.
Yeah, and one thing that scares me about getting a cornerback in that situation, they're not all going to be Sauce Gardners, right? Sauce Gardner is an anomaly.
Yeah.
He came out last year. It takes a year or two for cornerbacks to get adjusted to the NFL speed, to get adjusted to routes, to get adjusted to, once again, going up against guys who've been in the league for 10 years, precise route runners, and you just can't understand how this guy got from point A to point B. You know, you're not guarding Amon-Ra St. Browns, really, in college football. Those are elite level guys in the NFL. You're not going up against DK Metcalf every week. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So cornerback, really, it's a position that you have to be patient with. I think we've all been very patient with Jeff Okudah. That really hasn't worked out the way anybody had hoped for. And you just, once again, drafting that high on those positions that take a while and aren't going to immediately impact your team.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal. It is for teams that can do it, right? That are already built, that can go through that process. That's the big thing you keep hearing about the Lions and Jared Goff. Well, you know, Patrick Mahomes was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs when they had Alex Smith. It's like, okay, you were right. But
where was he drafted first, Dick?
Huh?
Where was Patrick Mahomes drafted first by?
Oh, he was drafted first by your Detroit Tigers.
Hey!
Yeah. That's one of my favorite fun facts, too.
Oh, absolutely.
The Tigers have drafted more Super Bowl winners than the Lions.
Well, maybe not that stat. I was more talking about the fact that we had him on the Tigers, or, well, had him.
And if he ever gets bored and decides to play, I mean, he does own part of the Kansas City Royals, so I'm not sure if there's a conflict of interest. But if he ever wants to play ball, Tigers own his rights. But
that's actually a real thing. So if he were to play baseball, the Tigers would have him, like it didn't expire or whatever.
Yep.
Well, I didn't know how long the contract was for.
It's perpetual. They drafted his rights.
Okay.
Yep.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it may expire after a couple years.
Yeah, I was wondering if like it expires after a certain amount of years or whatever.
Yeah, but either way, the Tigers have drafted a 2-time Super Bowl champion quarterback. The Lions have not.
Yeah, that's factual.
Factual. But back to the point that people keep saying that. I keep hearing that. Well, you know, Alex Smith. And it's like, Patrick Mahomes isn't just lying around. There aren't many Patrick Mahomes. No. Plus, like I said, the Chiefs' defense was already built at that time. The offense was pretty much running at that time. So they already had a full team where you could usher that guy in, let him sit, and then bring him aboard. I don't see the infatuation with drafting a quarterback early because that's a wait-and-see process. And once again, going back to, are we drafting a guy just to insulate the position? Are we drafting a guy because he's going to be the next, and he's the guy we see to take us over the level?
So you know what? Let's get into that next topic because I want to have the quarterback conversation with you because, and I want to read some of these comments. But before we go to break, I got to tell you about our friends over at Guardian Alarm. Speaking of elite defenses, I got the spot for you. It's Guardian Alarm. Reliable.
Elite.
You can draft Guardian Alarm 6 overall. I can promise you that. Customized solutions from real experts. Their professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call them anytime, day or night. Know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you for as long as you need. Technology backed by people as well. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT for more questions.
Stay out.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry. Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
We got to talk about our friends over at Custom Health, don't we?
What up, Gary? Gary looking good. We got to get Gary out of that affliction shirt, but Gary looking good.
It looks good, though.
Yeah, well, you know, when you lose weight, you feel good. Like, listen, you know, you can look back. We were talking about the old school Morning Woodward shows when I was on it. I was about a 235 when this network started. I dropped all the way down to about 185. Now I'm back up about 200. So I've plateaued, but I'm still down 35 pounds. And I'm telling you, like when we're playing softball with the Space Dogs, when I'm playing volleyball, my knees don't hurt as bad. My back doesn't hurt as bad. I'm more mobile. And losing weight is literally a key to life. So if you're feeling that weight, you're feeling that pressure, Custom Health. And it's a cool system. The reason it's called Custom Health is because they're going to take some blood samples. They're going to find out what your body's missing or what your body already has too much of.
Yeah, take it away.
They're going to make up a little
out.
concoction custom for you, and it'll help you drop that weight, just like my man Gary. Can't help him with his fashion sense, but we can help him with his weight. Custom Health.
Shout out to Custom Health. We're back here, Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Stick filling in for Adham Beydoun. I am your host for today, Jeff Iafrate. And I wanted to talk about something you kind of brought up last segment, and I want your thoughts on, because I know, and it's tough because I don't want to say you're the only Goff defender, because I like Goff. I believe Goff can be your quarterback when you're winning playoff games. I believe Goff can be your quarterback if you win this year in the NFC North. Like, I got a lot of faith in Goff.
Well, I mean, earlier in the show, you already said he was the second best quarterback in the NFC.
Factually, he is. Right. I agree there. He is. And I'm willing to have that debate. But with Goff, and as a Lions fan, you got to look in the future as well. I think that's super important for any organization. It's not always about next year. It's about the next 5 years. And with Goff, and you're seeing reports this offseason, and the biggest thing to me is Daniel Jones. You're seeing guys like Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, guys that are coming up with contract extensions, Derek Carr, for example. These guys are going to get paid, whether we agree with it or not. Daniel Jones, $45 million. Hell to the no.
I like DJ.
Like him, but do you like him for 45 is the question. It's a lot of money. So with the quarterback market as it is, and with Goff playing the way he is, because I did say second best quarterback in the NFC, you don't have to worry about it right now, Stick, but you at least have to think when that extension comes. And if you're Jared Goff, and this is assuming, because Goff could be, you know what, I'll take a discount, I'll continue to make $30 million. Stafford did that with LA. You never know. But let's assume Goff knows, hey, I'm 28, he's going to turn 29, I'm playing some of the best football of my career. I want to get paid. What do you do, Stick, if you're Brad Holmes, and he's offering, or he's asking, for $45 million? Are you willing to pay that price tag for Jared Goff?
I'm sitting Jared down, and I'm having a hard conversation with him if he's coming to the table of wanting max money for a quarterback or that $45 million. I'm being like, Jared, you were able to revive your career here in Detroit.
Yep.
If you think there's a better opportunity for you outside of Detroit that's going to pay you $45 million plus give you the opportunity to win, take it. We don't have that in our bag right now for you. We appreciate what you've done, and this is me being a Jared Goff guy.
Yes.
But understanding, listen, you're going to have to work with us because this is a relationship thing that has worked out. This isn't a one-sided thing where you're coming in and saving the day. You're coming in and you're fitting into our system. You're fitting into it very well. You are probably the best play-action passer in the league, or at least that's what the statistics said before you got here. And now that the Lions have built a solid run game, they have utilized that skill set. So I'm saying, hey, we've kind of built this around you. We like your skill set, but don't get it twisted. You're not going to hold this team hostage either. So either you want to be a part of the team, take a little bit less, but you could potentially win. You'll make that money up in endorsements, because I'm telling you this much, Jared Goff, if you win a playoff game here in Detroit, you are royalty.
And you're right about that.
You will make more money in endorsements from the Ford family than you will ever
Little
make
Caesars.
in contract. Yeah, Little Caesars. I mean, we could go on and name every Detroit company that would hire this guy. Hey, I'm playoff winning quarterback Jared Goff for the Detroit Lions. That's how I'm positioning it. And I don't know if you heard the story about Goff over the weekend, because I've been under the impression, when Goff first came to Detroit, he was staying in the lofts actually right above us here at Woodward Sports. He was staying on the fourth floor, I believe. There's some condos above us, and he was in there with his beautiful fiance, and they would come down here to Birmingham Roast, get their coffee. The first time he was walking around, he had security with him. We all kind of clowned, like, dude, you need security in Birmingham? Like, this isn't L.A., homie. And he spoke about that, the difference between L.A. and Detroit fans. I want to keep Jared Goff. I just don't think that he is worth max money.
Then the reason why I bring that up is because with Goff, you'd assume this team would win around 10 games a season. Right from now on, you'd expect them to win probably more than 9 games, assuming that's what you expect to win the NFC North, maybe 10, 11 games. You follow that up, maybe you win another 10 games. You said you would be like, you know what, Jared, this is what I want from you. If we're not willing to agree, someone else will give you that elsewhere. Then what's your plan at quarterback?
That's the question.
Because that's the problem, and that's why I can see, and especially over the last couple weeks, I've come more and more to the idea of drafting a quarterback, because think about it logically. If you take a quarterback, and again, everyone has their different flavors. I'm a big Bryce Young guy, C.J. Stroud. Those are my 2 picks. Will Levis, okay. Anthony Richardson, I'm probably more shying away from it. Anyway, if you take one of those guys, and let's just go with C.J. Stroud. Say what you want about C.J., but the reason why I don't mind the quarterback thing is because you take C.J., he sits until Goff, that conversation happens. At least then you have a plan. Like with the idea of saying, well, we have Goff, we're good, and then you get to a point where he's asking for $45 million, and you're sitting there going, well, we don't want to pay him that.
No.
What are you going to do? Like, you got a playoff roster, but you got no quarterback.
But that's the thing. There's quarterbacks available every offseason. You just listed off a bunch. Derek Carr. Okay, Goff doesn't want to play ball. We can bring in a Derek Carr.
But they're all recycled though.
But that's the free agent market, right? And that's the way it's going to be. But you can upgrade, and you can have somebody else come in. We all believe in Ben Johnson, right? We all think Ben Johnson is the end-all, be-all at offensive coordinator. If he would have left this offseason, where would the Lions have gone?
Right.
I don't think people are giving Dan Campbell enough credit for being able to call an offense. He does come from the Sean Payton coaching tree. He was an offensive player in the NFL. I think Dan Campbell has a little bit to do with those play calls and a little bit to do with the offensive scheme. Not taking anything away from Ben Johnson, but once again, they're working well in tandem. Right. And I think that's the new pitch for Jared Goff is, hey, we're giving you all the tools you need to be successful. What other team are you going to look? You're going to go to the Ravens once they get rid of Lamar Jackson? Who are you going to be throwing to? That's no good. So I think Jared Goff, if we're projecting moving on from him, this is where you do find that veteran backup that can come in and game manage. I saw somebody in the WoodwardSports.com chat say that Goff is an elite game manager. To me, that's not an insult. Tom Brady was also an elite game manager. Flannel Sam knocks him for that. Oh, he never put up massive stats in the playoffs. He won a playoff game by just managing it. And it's like, yeah, that's what you do. You put your team in a position to win. And I think Jared Goff is that guy that can do that for the Lions repeatedly.
And in the playoffs, at least with the evidence we have with Jared, he hasn't been an elite playoff performer, but he's made it to the Super Bowl, right? He had Todd Gurley, he had a great run game, great defense.
Yeah, I'm a results-oriented guy.
He did enough to get to the Super Bowl. But you bring up Tom Brady when he faced Bill Belichick. I mean, we know what happened there. It was they scored 3 points, so on and so forth. Goff is you've seen him improve. He's 28 years old. But you don't think Goff, let's say Goff right now asks for a trade, or he's like, get me out of here. Besides Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff would be the most sought-after quarterback. It'd be probably between him and Aaron. So, to your point, if you try and say, convince Goff, well, we've built this whole system around you, Goff can say, well, I got the Commanders, I got this team, so if you're not going to pay me $40 million, see you later, alligator. I'll go to any of these squads. And that's the point I'm making with the whole quarterback thing is I don't want to be stuck high and dry without any game plan except a game plan of, well, we'll just go get somebody's recycled quarterback or somebody that, like a Derek Carr or an Aaron Rodgers, something like that.
And that's why Brad Holmes gets paid. He's going to figure out this puzzle. It is a very, because there's so many hypotheticals with it too, right? I mean, this year coming in, what was the debate? Oh, our backup quarterback situation. What's our backup quarterback? Who are we going to have at backup quarterback?
I'm not.
Who cares? Hopefully, we never get to that conversation. No. It's such a luxury to worry about your backup quarterback when you have your starter set in stone. Right. I don't. To answer your question, I don't know what the move is 2 years from now.
Maybe drafting a quarterback.
You can draft a quarterback, but I'm drafting the next great quarterback. I'm not drafting a quarterback just to draft a quarterback, and that's what frustrates me about this draft. Hey, we need a quarterback. It's like, okay, just because we need one doesn't mean you go spend a lot of draft capital on one, or it doesn't mean you just draft a guy to just throw him in the system and, Stenson Bennett's never going to really play, but we got a quarterback. Like, why are you doing that?
I agree with that. If you're going to take a quarterback, I'm more so on the train of you take him at 6 overall. And the part of it is you have this pick as a luxury pick. Like, this is the Rams pick in a season we did not expect. We expect this pick this season to be
you, Rams,
in
by
the
the
20s.
way.
Thank you so much to the Rams and Matthew Stafford for missing a majority of the season. But that's also the point, is in the future, you only have the Lions picks. You'll be picking probably 20s, hopefully, expecting. What quarterback you getting? Lamar Jackson? I mean, he was taken at 32, but still, like, these guys aren't always coming out. Typically, you want top of the draft, your Joe Burrows, Lawrence, Herbert, those types, Allen, those types of guys. So if you're going to take a quarterback, it would have to be this year. Am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Why?
Yeah, you're wrong.
Because
there'll be a quarterback next year. There'll be quarterbacks the year
20?
after.
At 22, you're going to be able to take your guy?
Yeah. Where was Pat Mahomes drafted?
Like 10th.
Like 10. So that's not super high in the draft. You could trade up to get to that position if you wanted him.
But that's also assuming the team at 10 would be willing to give up whoever that quarterback is.
Well, we're making a lot of assumptions already, saying Jared Goff isn't going to be the guy for the next 5 years. Like, we're already projecting that Jared Goff's moving on in 2 years. So I can make leaps too.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
I don't like walking in, just with my eyes closed and we're just figuring it out at the quarterback position. Jared Goff, to say he's the quarterback for the next, 4 years, number one, you got to see another season like this past one next year. What?
I was just going to read a comment. You're not getting a franchise quarterback at 22. The real Kay Collins said that, right? Sometimes you're not getting a franchise quarterback at number 1. Sometimes you're not getting a franchise quarterback at number 2, 3, 4, 5 overall. Like, just because you're drafting them earlier does not guarantee they're going to be good players. And I wish people would look at past drafts and understand this. Out of the past 20 quarterbacks that have been drafted, 2 of them are great.
No denying how hard it is to get the quarterback right. But my point is, you'd much rather take a chance at a top 6 pick to take your quarterback than wait and say, well, we'll just wait to 22. Or we assume I can just trade up and, like, I've seen a lot of that. Don't worry, guys, we'll get Drake May, we'll get Caleb Williams. Hell no, you won't. You won't get those guys. Because if I'm one of the teams at the top, I'm not giving you my pick to take them. If I need a quarterback, oh yeah, Brad, no problem. Here, you can have them. You can trade up and get Drake May or Caleb Williams. It's not happening. So that's why you at least have to be more accepting of the possibility that a quarterback may be in play. I just hate when people say, like, they'll see a mock draft with a quarterback taken, like, oh, hell no, all defense.
Yeah, that's
really
me. I'm that guy.
So, and I'm not saying you have to take a quarterback, but I'm okay with it. I'm not going to hate it.
But listen,
how can you hate it?
This is my personal view. I don't think we need it. But here's the best part. You can have your opinion. I can have my opinion.
Yes.
And I think we both trust Brad Holmes to make the right move.
You do. Yeah, we do.
And that's what makes me sleep well at night. If Brad Holmes decides to draft a guy at 6, I'm going to say, you know what? Brad Holmes is smarter than me. This is the right thing to do.
Right.
If Brad Holmes waits and drafts a quarterback in the 6th round, I'm going to say, you know what? Brad Holmes is smarter than me. This is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. So as much as I have my opinion about how I would do it if I was in Brad Holmes' position, we'll wait and see what Brad does, and then we'll know what the right answer was.
Yeah, because even last year, it's funny, too, looking back at the last year's draft. Aiden, okay, we had an idea if he's there, you're taking him, but you didn't know he'd trade up. There's a lot of things that happen that you never know. Nobody knows what Brad's going to do.
Who would have thought they would have gotten Jameson Williams last year? I mean, you could go back and watch our live draft show from the brass rail, and some interesting things happened with our lineups to where, like, I had it scheduled out to where, like, Adham, Scout, and somebody else was on for the first 5 picks, and then I believe it was Maz and a couple other people for the next 5 picks, and then Braylon and Ermanni. Well, they wanted to all be together, so we kind of jumbled up where they were. and they jumped out of the spot where they would have been calling the pick for Jamison Williams. That's how nobody knew what was going to happen, and I wound up being there when that pick came through. And I think it was me and you, right? Yeah, like me and you wound up on the desk when that happened. We had no clue that was going to happen.
Yeah, a funny story, too, when the pick was, it was announced you traded up, a lot of people assumed it would be Malik Willis. Looking back,
we were chanting Malik. People were chanting Malik in there.
That is ridiculous. I can't believe that was a real thing. James Williams, happy you're lying. We're gonna go to break. When we get back, we're gonna talk more about Aaron Rodgers, the uncertainty of his future, and what that means for the NFC North.
Aaron Rodgers.
And I can't wait. We're gonna talk more about Sticks Bet because we got to revisit that quickly. But I'm gonna tell you about our friends over at Chili Peppers Tanning because it's where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. You can join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans, your Vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations, and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Seafood Fest is back at Big Boy. Catch it while you can, if you understand that pun. Some favorites during Lent like shrimp Alfredo, shrimp stir fry, and the new fish sandwich. Get to your local Big Boy today. Don't forget, all you can eat fish fry buffet on Friday nights over at Big Boy.
Sounds good about now. Yeah.
Buffet.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of my. Listen.
Fish fry buffet.
Actually, funny story.
It's a lot of F's in a row.
Well, funny story, actually. In elementary school, I had to take speech classes because of my pronunciation. So I've come a long way, believe it or not.
I think share that, Jeff.
Just a little backstory.
I used to not be able to say my L's or my R's.
Oh.
Wow.
I used to, the Detroit Lions.
Hey. Okay, but that's everyone is it. Like, how young are we talking? Like 10, 11, 12, or like 1, 2, 3?
Sometimes when I'm reading fast and stuff, I still have those little lapses, and like it'll come out. But yeah, like you, it's a thought process, and like, I got to press my tongue to the top of my mouth to enunciate this L.
Well, you know what? I just had to overcome some adversity. Something that Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem to do a lot of lately, right? I mean, the adversity he's faced, it seems it just slaps him right in the face directly.
Self-inflicted.
Did he do Pat McAfee yesterday? Do we know how that dark retreat went? Any reports on how it went?
I did not see it.
Okay. Because I know he was out on Wednesday, but that's all I saw. All I saw was the big ticker saying Aaron Rodgers is out of his dark retreat. Nothing else. So
he came out of his hole in Oregon.
Yeah.
He did. He was in a little. Did you see what it looked like where he stayed?
I didn't see any pictures.
No. It was like
it's supposed to be
dark.
dark.
It was like a little hut that came out of the ground, but it was like you go in the ground.
I would say it's similar to a groundhog.
All similar to a groundhog.
Yeah, kind of did, honestly.
I didn't see the pictures,
he had a bed,
but
a yoga
that's what
mat,
I'm
and a
picturing.
bathtub.
There you go.
There. So
at least he's hygienic.
I don't know if he's taking. I mean, did he even use the bath? Looking at his hair, I don't even know if he used the bath.
I don't know. Wet hair.
It's debatable, but good story because if the Packers beat the Lions at the end of the season, Stick would be wearing a Aaron Rodgers jersey at this current moment. But he isn't.
But he's
wearing a nice. Is that Ice Cube?
Oh, it's Ice Cube, man.
He's wearing Ice Cube today, and no Aaron Rodgers jersey.
Target's finest.
I love that.
Hey, how much was that? Like $10?
Yeah. I think it's long sleeve, so it may have been 12.
Oh.
You know, I'm a baller on a budget over here. I don't go spend a lot of money on clothes.
People don't realize you can get good clothes at like Target, Old Navy, Walgreens, Meijer.
I mess
they're
with Target,
good. They're
man.
well-made clothes. They're not like this thing's gonna fall off
my
in my
pants
hand.
are from Target. My shirt's from Target. I think my belt's from Target.
I mean, how do you not?
Yeah.
I love that.
Great made clothes.
Rex says Rodgers came out of his hole and seen his shadow. That means 12 more months of no Super Bowl wins for him.
Hey, that's a good one.
That's a fair
I like
point.
that one.
You know what? I can't wait. I can't wait for him to leave Green Bay.
I know.
Go to a different team.
Is he going
and the
to? I hope
last
he does.
memory of Aaron Rodgers in a Green Bay Packers uniform is walking off the field holding Randall Cobb after the ass beating that the Lions put on him to keep his punk ass out of the playoffs, to keep Green Bay at home, all the hype. They flexed it to a national game so you could see Aaron Rodgers do his thing. And what did we see? Oh, man. A road win in Lambeau, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Which it was cold that night.
Take this frozen fist and shove it right up you know where, Aaron Rodgers, and enjoy your offseason. Go into dark. Like, the Lions made Aaron Rodgers retreat to darkness.
Yeah.
They beat his ass so bad, he had to go have a life experience like, what am I doing in the NFL anymore? I can't keep a girlfriend. I can't keep my team happy. I can't be a good teammate. Like, and on top of that, because Aaron Rodgers sucked so bad in that game, and because the Lions beat that ass, and because Aaron Rodgers is on Pat McAfee every Tuesday talking about it, Pat McAfee is now coming to Detroit because Aaron Rodgers sucks. So another reason, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I kind of like him now. I like this beat up, tuck your tail, go into a hole of darkness, leave your ass team. Like, Aaron Rodgers, this is just poetic.
I love this comment. Mark Royal says Rodgers going to another team would be great because that would mean he would destroy 2 teams. LOL.
Hey.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too. The market for Aaron Rodgers, I think the probably the number one team, and I don't know if this is the only team. There's probably other teams that are intrigued, but the
Raiders,
Jets,
right?
Jets.
That's I think that's really it essentially, and they're waiting right now. I know Derek Carr is available, but again, Derek Carr and Rodgers. Probably going Aaron Rodgers, but
haven't the
regardless.
Raiders been in the conversation?
Who?
Raiders,
I'm sure,
and of course Raiders as well. But still, the Raiders to me, I mean,
who is the one?
Aaron Rodgers in that division? Yeah,
who
in
was,
the AFC.
Was it Devontae Adams that wanted to come to Raiders? Someone wanted him to come to Raiders, like publicly tweeted about
Devontae
it.
Adams.
Okay,
yeah, he wants him to be his neighbor.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know what they've done in Green Bay. We saw it a lot as Lions fans. But Aaron Rodgers, to me, and this is the most annoying problem to have, I think, for any organization, when you have a guy like Aaron with his stature, and he pretty much has you on your toes at all times. Like
he's not worth that.
They're waiting for him to make a decision whether they're moving on with him or without him. And to be honest with you, does Aaron give the Packers a better chance to win than Jordan Love? At this point, I would say yes. But because I don't know what Jordan Love is. But if I'm the Packers, I'm saying, okay, Aaron, while you decide, we'll decide for you. Get the hell out of here. We're going along with Jordan Love. His rookie contract's expiring. We got to find out what we have in Jordan Love. I think it's pointless to bring back Aaron Rodgers this season. Just trade him. Get him out of here. Make a decision for him.
Hey, as long as he's causing chaos, do it, Aaron Rodgers. And this goes back to our point about spending that draft capital on a quarterback when you don't necessarily need one. How'd that work out? What do you know about Jordan Love now? Nothing. You know, they wasted a first-round draft pick that they could have gotten a wide receiver. They could have gotten somebody to help Aaron out, but they didn't. And now you just got a guy that sat for 5 years. You wasted money. He's going to come up. They're not going to re-sign him.
Right.
I mean, they may, but like they just screwed themselves by spending needlessly on a quarterback in the first round. So if you can't learn from what the Green Bay Packers just went through, I'm sorry. You don't do it. You just don't do it when you got the guy.
Just to sprinkle in there, Jordan Love was picked in the 20s. But
yeah, he was picked in the 20s. Still. But that was supposed to be the next up, right? Wasn't he the plan? Aaron Rodgers, he's the plan. We're moving on. But they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. No, that's why the Jordan Love thing, again, I don't know what he is as a player. Could be good. And that's why, looking at it moving forward, you got to at least find out what you have. And for Aaron, dude, yeah, your time in Green Bay is expired. And I saw someone comment too. It's funny. Someone said Jared Goff is 4-2 against Aaron Rodgers.
Factual.
That is factual information. As much as you want to say whatever you want to say about Goff, he is 4-2, and I believe Kirby has 3 picks against Aaron Rodgers.
In one game.
Mistaken. Yeah, he had 2 in one game, and I think he had 1 in the other one. Regardless, Aaron Rodgers, the whole Lions narrative, that's over with.
Could you imagine having a diva-ass quarterback like that holding the entire franchise hostage? Say what you want about Detroit, and they haven't had much winning, but at least our superstars just quit and leave. We have a final decision. They rip the Band-Aid off. Barry just leaves. Calvin just leaves. Stafford gets his trade immediately when he asks for it when Holmes gets here. Mm-hmm. Nobody's ever held the Lions hostage. Maybe Ndamukong Suh when he was asking for some more money, but that's about it.
Yeah, probably because the grass is typically greener for most players.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, you look at Kelvin, I know he said in an interview recently, it's if I come back and I play, I know this team isn't going anywhere, I might as well just retire. Aaron might believe that in this NFC North, which he's wrong, by the way, because he's going to get his ass kicked by the Vikings and the Detroit Lions. He might feel like, hey, maybe I would want to come back and stay in Green Bay, retire a Packer. And the Packers, obviously their best chance to win, again, is with Aaron. I believe that. But win what?
And as
8
a
games?
teammate, how much do you overlook your coworker being a complete asshole?
Oh, it's got to be frustrating.
You come into work every day, you bust your ass, and here comes dude strolling in off his ayahuasca.
Doesn't show up to
show up to
OTAs?
training camp.
Yeah.
But then bitches that he has no coordination with his wide receivers. It's maybe when you have young wide receivers, you need to show up to OTAs to build that timing, to build that rapport. Don't just show up in game 1 and be like, these guys aren't ready. What's going on? It's you didn't get them ready, Aaron.
And that's the problem, too. You look back last year, Patrick Mahomes, you lost Tyreek Hill. Aaron Rodgers lost Devontae Adams. Look at the difference in how each of those quarterbacks approach their offseason. Patrick Mahomes got the work started early with all his receivers.
Right.
Got the chemistry on point. Juju, McCole Hardman,
leader.
Sky Moore, got those guys situated in the offseason, got the chemistry ready. Aaron Rodgers waited and waited, missed OTAs, missed most of training camp, walked in and said, all right, guys, let's go. And then when Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson, they're dropping passes, all the attention's on those guys.
Yep.
But nobody looks at Aaron and the decision he made to avoid that time in the offseason for whatever he was dealing with, thinking about retirement, contemplating retirement. It's straight disrespectful. Now, if you're a wide receiver, of course you want to play with Aaron, one of the most, if not the most accurate passer of all time, but the ego, the diva, that shit, it gets old quickly. So, again, from their perspective, I'd understand if they're like, Aaron, make a decision.
That's where I was just going to go. The arrogance level is through the roof. And I think we've all worked with people like that who will take credit for all the good things but give blame for all the bad things.
Yes.
And you can't have it both ways. Either you're going to give praise when things are good and hold yourself accountable when things are good, but you gotta be consistent with it. You can't say, I did this, I built this, I did this, and then when things go bad, be like, but you did the bad things. It's no, if you did it and you built it all and it's bad, that's your fault.
You gotta look in the mirror.
You gotta look in the mirror. You can't just be so arrogant that you are flawless.
Yeah, that's the problem. Aaron will wait, and then when the Packers are struggling and the wide receivers are struggling, he'll say, well, the chemistry's not there. Well, no dip, dude. You didn't
didn't build it.
You didn't build it.
It's like me just hopping on a show with you, never doing anything, and being like, oh, me and Jeff don't have any chemistry. It's you never talk to each other. Yeah. Of course you're never going to have a cadence.
Accountability. That's why we have D-Mac. He asserts accountability.
I love D-Mac.
And I'll tell you another place that helps with accountability if you need insurance, and that's Swiss Insurance. Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Swiss can help make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance. Give them a shot. You won't be disappointed. Contact them. mark@swissins.com for more information.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. sports. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
We're back here at the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. I am your host for today, Jeff Iafrate, filling in for Adham Beydoun, who is currently out sick. We hope you feel better. Adham is Sam Stick Day, good friend, guy that I've known for a while, and somebody that, me and you, although we disagree on some things, it's always great conversation. And we always end up coming to some sort of median. And we can, even if I disagree with your quarterback take, I still love you.
Well, I mean, there's no right or wrong in this. It's all hyperbole, right? Like, honestly, that's part of the reason why we started Woodward Sports is I was sitting at home watching ESPN. I'm like, why is this guy's opinion better than mine? What does Skip Bayless know that I don't know? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. So, like, it's just make your opinion, make it entertaining, and here we are. Right, Fish? Because you got great takes, Fish.
Do I?
Yeah, you do.
If you don't Fish, you know the story. Well, yeah, I think I told you off air, but the Desmond Ritter stuff, that's why I love Fish.
Boy.
Fish, this is one of the most...
What happened with Desmond Ritter and Fish?
So, we asked Fish to... I'm like, who are you taking at 6th overall?
Yep.
And he goes, Desmond Ritter. And I'm like, well, Fish, he's in the league currently. Number one.
You can't draft players in the league, Fish.
And then he said Michael Myers at 18.
Yeah, you can trade for
Not
them.
Michael Mayer, Michael Myers.
I mean, you want to talk about
relentless? He wants the serial killer.
You want relentless? He got that dog in him. Little slow, but he's going to take those angles and hunt you down. He's Michael
By
Myers.
definition, he'd be a good line.
Yeah, he'd be a great in the combine.
He'd rip kneecaps off.
Hey, they can trade for him at 6.
How many reps do you think you get on the bench press, Michael Myers? Wouldn't that be great to put those guys through the combine?
Yeah, literally, dude.
Dude just walks the 40-yard dash, just slow as hell.
Tom Brady speed. You want to bring something up, and I thought it was interesting, but before the show, about the Palace.
Yeah, for some reason in my Facebook memories yesterday, it popped up that the Palace was being torn down and stuff like that, and it wasn't imploded till July 11th, but they started tearing it down, I believe, about this time 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And when I drive up 75 and past that exit now, it's just... like the ghost of the Palace will always be there. I'm going to drive by that place and remember all the Piston games that I went to, even bad boy Piston games, all the way to the 2004, 2005 team. And then, my first concerts were there with Michael Jackson and New Kids on the Block. Yes, I'm dating myself, but that's fine. Also saw Kanye there, like before Kanye went all crazy. Kanye, Jay-Z, Eminem, the Up in Smoke tour with Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
You were at some iconic concerts.
I mean, I worked in Top 40 Radio here in Detroit for 20 years, so I pretty much went to every concert that I wanted to at all times.
Majority at the Palace.
Did you get backstage access for all of them?
Some, not all.
Okay.
Did
you meet any of them personally?
Yeah, I mean, I've met Jay-Z and interviewed him. I've pretty much everybody. The only person on my bucket list that I've never been able to sit down and interview is Eminem. But everybody else, I've met them. I've met Timberland. I've met Dr. Dre.
How many of them were? Maybe you don't have to give names, but douchebags.
Very few.
Okay, that's cool. That's like the thing you don't think of too.
But it's also how you approach them too.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people be douchebags and then cool to me. Like it's, but I don't walk up to you. Oh my God! Hi, can I have your autograph? Can I get a picture with you? It's like, hey man, what's up? And I just say hi and move on.
Hi, my name's Sam Stick Day. How are you, Eminem?
The Weeknd was cool. I got to meet the Weeknd when we were there. Like that guy's cool as hell.
Yeah.
But the Palace just brings back so many memories
for me too, man. I remember they had the Star Wars show there. I went there once. I went to a ton of Pistons games, especially right after the 2004 the championship year. We were down there a lot. I mean, my mom had tickets, so a lot of good memories of the Palace, man. And especially now that it's gone, you stop to think, because I appreciate Little Caesars Arena, the location of it.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate that Detroit has the Tigers, the Lions, the Pistons, all in the same, walking distance. But there's a part of me, I just miss the Palace itself. If you could move the Palace to Detroit back in the day, it's like you get that feel, but the Palace and just how it was amazing, man.
And it's funny, when the Palace was around, we used to always talk about, man, what if the Pistons played downtown and stuff like that. But to the Pistons' credit, I mean, they're top 10 in the league in attendance right now?
They are.
That wouldn't happen if they were still in the Palace with this team.
True.
To me, that's
I agree with you.
That's the benefit of being downtown. You're in a much more condensed area. A lot more people are around. A lot more easy access to get to LCA. So that's kind of what made the Palace weird. Like for all my friends that live downriver, they're driving an hour and 15 minutes to go see a Pistons game.
Oh, it's insane.
Now they got to drive 15, 20.
For me, it was about an hour to go to the Palace. Now with the Little Caesars Arena, it's only about 30 minutes.
And that's it's more accessible to more people. But the Palace is just a great concert venue. It was a great sporting venue. I mean, the Vipers used to play there. I don't know if you remember the Vipers.
I do remember the Vipers. Never seen them, but I've heard
you pick up your free Vipers tickets at a gas station and just walk right in and sit on the glass. Like, there's just so many good memories. And if you got a memory of the Palace, drop it in the WoodwardSports.com chat right now.
Fish, what about you? You been at the Palace?
I have been there several times.
Any great memories from the Palace? Sporting events?
I watched the Pistons win a playoff series against the Magic. Wouldn't be able to tell you what year, but I remember that.
No, was that the year they were down 3-0 and came back?
I don't know. I just remember seeing Pistons win on the
Tayshaun Prince in that.
Okay.
Yeah, he was known as the Tracy McGrady stopper after that because Michael Curry was starting at the 3 to begin that series, and then they brought in this rookie, Tayshaun Prince.
Yeah, that was 2003.
Yep, that was Tayshaun's rookie year.
Okay, it definitely wasn't 2003.
Okay.
Because I wasn't...
Well, that's when they played. I think that's the series they won 4-3. I don't know what series.
Well, it was Pistons Magic. I would have, if I had to take a year guess, I'd say like 2009, 2010. I would say at least 10 years ago. Because I was a young lad back then when I watched. Not 3 years young, but
you
maybe
saw any
9 or
concerts
10.
there? You been at any concerts?
I have not been to any concerts at the Palace.
It's okay. I mean, even not just the sporting events. I mean, that's
I've been
to
Piston games.
Yeah, and that's the same feeling people have for like Joe Louis. There's other arenas. Like people have like those memories especially as a child that you'll never forget. Like a lot of my memories, mostly, and none of them, sadly, have come from Little Caesars Arena yet. I think if you want to say, drafting Cade and those memories, it was great. I mean, to be at the arena, whatever. But overall, most of those memories, they come from the Palace. Those are all the greatest memories.
I mean, and that's the thing that I think LCA's missing right now is there's no lineage yet.
Agreed.
Like the Joe was a pile of crap, but it was our pile of crap that produced championships. So you could walk in the Joe and you'd feel at least championship ghosts from the past and, lore and like... You walk into LCA and it's like nobody's ever won a damn thing in this building. Not even a playoff series.
No, it's that's
a playoff game.
And just what you can do in the arena, like the food, the drinks, the venues, whatever. That's also, I think, a part of why the attendance is so high is because the experience you get. It's not just you're going to a Pistons game and you might watch them lose, but you're going to a Pistons game. You get to hang out at the bars, the restaurants they have inside. Like they've done a really good job with LCA in terms of just marketing it, number one, but just the experience. I think it's a as much as I love the Palace, I think the LCA, they've done a better job with that. But again, if you're not winning games, it makes it even harder. If they were winning games, imagine the Pistons are in the playoffs. That top 10 is top 3, just in attendance.
And that is a raucous crowd. It is a party atmosphere.
What's up, Fish?
You say they had a great, around the concourse or all the restaurants. The first year they got killed with the attendance because everyone would be going into the game, but then they wouldn't go to their seats because they just go to the restaurants.
Yeah, that's okay. They don't mind. They're making money.
Well, they're making money, but I'm saying when you watch on TV, you see all these empty seats in the lower. They actually changed the seats from red to black because of that. Because the red, you notice all the empty seats. You're like, why are there so many empty seats on the lower bowl? Well, that's because they're all at the Kid Rock restaurant and M&M restaurant
but
or
once
whatever.
again, I think that comes with a winning team, right? Like, if it's not a priority to go watch the game, it's just a priority to be a part of the social atmosphere.
That's it.
People are going to get drunk in the bars, and I don't need to head to the seats. The Pistons are going to lose by 40 anyways.
Well, that was the first year. Obviously, as more people have been there, as you go for your second, third, fourth, fifth time, you're obviously going to go to your seats because you've seen all the restaurants. And I like how you can go there like off game hours. So like right now, I can go out to a LCA restaurant right now.
Yep.
And I think winning is the biggest part because you see it, even the Red Wings and the Pistons, the difference is the Red Wings aren't like winning a ton, but they're winning more obviously than the Pistons. You'll see if you go to Red Wings games, they're still electric. Like people aren't typically leaving their seats while the game's on. Pistons are a little, especially if they're down 15. Like it's just, there's a little bit of difference. It's a different atmosphere, but still, once those both teams are winning, man, LCA, it is going to be rocking, and I cannot wait. Then you have Ford Field down the street. Hopefully, the Tigers can turn it around soon.
America Park.
Detroit, it's on the rise. And
I think we're the only, or out of all the major metros with 4 teams, we're the only one with all 4 teams in walking distance in a downtown area.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And go beyond that, to talk about Detroit, we are the largest theater district outside of New York, Broadway.
Yeah,
so
Broadway.
I mean, there's just I love this city. There's just so much to it.
It's hard not to love. You know what else isn't hard to love? You guys for tuning in to the Morning Woodward Show. We're going to go to break. We're going to go to break. When we get back, we're going to do more fan mock drafts.
I was expecting something different, but that's
good
too.
We're going to go to break quickly. Fish, I love you. All right, no more. This is the day we're not dissing Fish today. We're going to give him the right.
No,
shut up,
Fish gets flowers every day.
He gets flowers. Adam isn't here. I'm sure he'll bring it up to you tomorrow. But until then, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back. Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Before we go to break, off to Sam Stickdale to tell us about our lovely folks at Planet Fitness.
Oh, Planet Fitness. For only $10 a month, you can get a membership today. And you know what? Why not upgrade to that black card? Because then you can get the massages, you can get the tanning, and everything else that goes along with it. Planet Fitness is your spot to go. You know our man Neil Rule is putting it in. You know Neil Rule runs like 25 miles every week. Like the dude runs a marathon every single week.
He's built different.
Yeah, he runs out.
He runs and runs, and you know what? He does it on the treadmill.
We have footage of him doing that too.
It's too cold outside to do it. So go to Planet Fitness today. $10 a month. Your fitness is essential.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
We're back. Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. And in the meantime, I do want to get through some more of these mock drafts. And Alex, I'm going to send you this one. It's actually from a listener of the show who sent a very kind message. So, and I selected his specifically just because, you know what, it was a kind. But Alex, you can pull the mock draft. It wasn't a bad mock draft either. That's also part of it. If he sent me some trash mock draft, sorry, love the message. I'm not putting that up on the show. But we're putting this one up on the show because it wasn't too bad. And he made one trade. And it's a trade that's realistic, and I want to read the message. This is from Brandon. He said, "I'm a huge fan of you in the Morning Woodward Show. I have a mock for you guys if you want to review it. Doubling down on corner since the Ramsey news is unlikely, but if we don't get Ramsey, I like this draft a lot more." Okay. So here we go. Let me just go through this. So he trades the pick, the 6th overall pick. You trade back to 9. You get another 2nd-round pick. Okay. Now we're cooking. You draft Kalijah Cansey at 9.
Don't mind that.
You get Joey Porter at 18.
Love that.
Yep. You get Andre Carter the 2nd, which he's a freak. But 39, I don't mind it. He's a good player. Henley at 48. Clark Phillips, I actually like Clark Phillips a lot. DeMarvion Overshown. He's out of Texas. Me and Adam covered him the last 2 weeks. Like that pick in the 3rd round. Dwayne McBride, love that pick. Antonio Maffei, love that pick. And Luke Schoonmaker in the 6th round. I mean, you're just taking a tight end to take one. I don't mind it. I actually like this draft a lot. Honestly, I would probably agree with PFF. I'd probably give him a B+, to be honest with you. In terms of value at each pick, DeMarvion, Clark, Henley, Andre, Joey, Kalijah. I kind of like the collection of players he got.
Yeah, I wonder why they put the Cansey at a D+, though. Why PFF
probably because value. I think every time I do PFF mock drafts, he's there at 18. So if PFF's basing it off like he's a top 20 player, but you take him at 9, so maybe that's why. But I agree. I wouldn't be mad if you took him at 9. I think he's good enough.
Yeah, I think he's good enough. And once again, I like the top. I think Carter's kind of a stretch there that early. I think he'll be available later on in the draft. And honestly, I can't name an Army player that has ever done well in the NFL, and not saying that I'm going to hold that against him.
Right.
Whatever anybody did previous to you doesn't really account for you. But
when you dominate Navy, it's hard to pull some film off that. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Put up monster numbers last year, but yeah, to your point, if Emmanuel Forbes was there, maybe instead of Clark, you'd take Emmanuel Forbes. But again, I'm nitpicking at this point. I wanted to read some of these comments because someone said something funny. But he Doughboy Steve says, but he drafted a tight end, so he gets an F. Okay.
Again, what round is that?
In the 6th round. Yeah, I don't hate it. Honestly, I like this mock draft, Brandon. I think you did a pretty good job. I'm going to find another one real quick. But overall, the Kalijah Kancey thing, it's funny because mock drafts, typically when you look at mock drafts, you don't see a lot of Kalijah Kancey at 6. But now with like Lions and we're doing our fan mock drafts, people are on board with the idea of getting another interior defensive lineman at 6 or at 9, clearly like he did.
What was the strength of the Lions' defense this past year?
The line. The strength, yeah, it was that defensive line.
I mean, almost by default, but yeah, the line was the strength. What was the strength of the Lions 2 years ago when we drafted Penei Sewell?
Oh, it was that offensive line.
It was the offensive line.
Yeah, no doubt.
I love that. Me and Maz go back and forth on that because he still likes his Micah Parsons over Penei Sewell in that spot. But I love when you have a strength and you make it stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you give yourself an identity, you give yourself a benchmark, and you give yourself something you can build on. So when they doubled down with Penei Sewell and already added him to 3 potential Pro Bowlers that were already starting on the offensive line, I don't mind that. And now if we're going to do that on the defensive side of the ball this year, I love that too, because now at least, all right, when teams are coming in to game plan for the Lions, they're like, man, this defensive line is a nightmare.
Yeah, you got it, especially considering you look at 2 of the top teams in the NFC that were in the NFC Championship game, the Eagles and the 49ers. Look at the depth on their defensive line. It's unbelievable. Like, that's something you're going to – and I like Benito Jones. I like Bugs. I like the guys you could fill
Bugs,
in.
Man. Bugs was my guy last year.
I love Bugs.
But how do you
need a pass rush?
How do you insulate a cornerback? You make him cover for less time. How do you do that? You put pressure on the quarterback. So, like, strengthening your defensive line will strengthen your secondary by default.
Yeah.
Strengthening your secondary won't strengthen your defensive line by default. So that's why I love that the Lions are building this team in the trenches. Top 3 offensive line, let's get that top 3 defensive line, and we're off and cooking.
Alex, I just sent you another one if you could throw that up for me. This is from Bart, listener of the show, and Bart's actually called in a couple times. Bart traded 6 for 9, and he also got a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick for it. Okay, I don't hate it. You get Devon Witherspoon. Still got your guy, but you got him at 9. I like that. You traded back 3 spots. You still got him. Beydoun Robinson at 18. I don't know how you feel about it. I actually don't hate Beydoun. I know people will say, well, like Adam's theory is, and I get a lot of GMs feel the same way. You don't take a running back in the 1st round. Beydoun would be the rarity, I guess you could say. There's a couple you can consider running backs in the 1st round if they're like Beydoun Robinson or Saquon and that type of class of talent. Beydoun to me is worth it. I don't hate it. What are your initial thoughts, Beydoun Robinson?
I don't hate it. I think Beydoun Robinson is very talented. I think he will be a good running back in this league, especially I was just praising the Detroit Lions offensive line, so it would be a good marriage. But then, my analytical side gets involved and we look at the Super Bowl and we look at the top rushers for all Super Bowl winning teams of the past 10 years, and they're not all-star guys. It's Isaiah Pacheco,
7th-round pick.
It's James White. It's all these guys that aren't really highly touted running backs that are putting up numbers in the Super Bowl. So, big picture, I don't think you need them. Day to day, it would be fun to watch Beydoun Robinson, but who are you kicking out, Swift?
Yeah, and that's also the problem I have is, and the reason why I can get behind Beydoun is I got to see who's there. Like, if Kancey was there at 18 and you picked Beydoun, I'd probably disagree with that. I'd rather have Kancey over Keanu Benton in the 2nd round. But let's go through. So, J.L. Skinner takes a safety at 48.
I like Skinner.
I don't hate it, and I like Skinner as well. Henley, we're seeing a lot of Henley in a lot of these mock drafts. Benton, we've seen him as well. Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round.
Now
81.
that I don't mind.
Oh, so you're cool with it.
Listen, there's exceptions to every rule. Hendon Hooker, to me, is a guy that could potentially be very good in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
That's a guy that, to me, he's a better prospect than Anthony Richardson.
Well, you definitely could argue both played in the SEC. Hendon, he turned the ball over twice this year, had 2 interceptions.
Well,
and he had a great season before he went down with an injury.
And I love guys that take, Tennessee perennially has been a great NCAA program, but let's face it, recently they're not a factor, right? And when you can take a program that hasn't necessarily been a factor and make them relevant again, you're that dude. And I like taking shots on those types of guys. Did Anthony Richardson elevate Florida to anybody's scare?
No, I mean he didn't elevate them consistently. And Hendon, to his credit, he's a couple years older, but still, the maturity's there. You're getting a guy who, as you've seen the success, you've seen him play well. You don't have to wait for him. You have to wait for him to recover from an injury, but you kind of know what you're getting with Hendon Hooker. So Jarrett Patterson, he takes a guard. DJ Turner takes another corner. Brennan Cox Jr. out of Florida, speaking of Florida, and then Jake Moody in the 6th. Jake Moody, automatic A for me. We agree there.
Automatic A for me.
But overall, I do like this. I know he acquired 2 more picks. The players I don't hate. I'm not absolutely in love. I love Skinner. Like Beydoun. Have to see who was there, though. And I like Devon Witherspoon. I like that pick a lot. Like Hendon Hooker, to your point. I had him in one of my first mock drafts. Like Patterson. I'll give this draft a B. I'll give it a B. I think it's solid. I think
B-. A
lot of players being taken, but I don't mind it.
I don't love spending a lot of picks on offense, and the first round pick on offense isn't something ideally I would want to do this year. So that's why I'll give it a B-. But I don't think it's bad. I wouldn't be mad if this happened. We'd be excited about the offensive side. Oh my God, we're adding literally Jamison Williams and Bijan Robinson to the offense that was already top 5 last year.
Yeah, no,
that's fun.
And Benji, I mean, he's speaking facts in the comments as always. I mean, with Bijan and what he can do, what he would do for this offense. Love Jamal, love DeAndre, but you can't rely on DeAndre, and Jamal isn't going to be your running back 1 for the whole year. So you're going to need somebody. They have to at least, and that's why I had Zach Charbonnet, Jahmyr Gibbs. I have different hypotheticals with running backs because I do think they got to address it. Like Justin Jackson's a free agent, he can go.
Yeah.
You can draft somebody. It won't hurt at all. But we're going to go to break. Drop your questions. We'll do mailbag, me and Stick. We'll
Ask Fish, too. We got to do Ask Fish.
Yeah, Fish needs some questions. Please support the boy himself. We're going to go to break. When we get back, we'll do mailbag. But before we do that, we got to talk about the lobster truck.
Ooh, man. If you have not tried this lobster food truck, Cousin's Maine Lobster, I'm telling you, the butter is just so good. They got 2 types of rolls. You can do the mayonnaise or you can do the butter. I like the butter dipped one. That's right above my head right now. And, man, click on that QR code right now to find out where they are going to be. I'm telling you, this is no joke. Like, they fly in the lobster straight from Maine. Like, this isn't they went to Costco and picked this stuff up. This is the real deal. It's absolutely delicious. If you love lobster, if you love seafood, look for these food trucks all over Metro Detroit. And like I said, scan that QR code right now and go get yourself a hell of a lunch from the lobster food truck.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
You're about to be shell-shocked. The catch of the day is in. Big Boy Seafood Fest is officially back. Join us for some of your favorites like our popcorn shrimp and pike perch platters and our classic fish and chips. This year, we've reeled in some fresh catches like our shrimp Alfredo, shrimp stir-fry, and our fish sandwich. And especially, don't forget about our all-you-can-eat Friday night fish fry buffet. Every day is a fish fry at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard.
Corner, jumper,
Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
We're back on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. It's mailbag time, and we got to get into some of these questions. I like this one. Michael asks, ask Fish, out of all Pete Davidson's past girlfriends, who would you date?
Boy.
Do you know of his past girlfriends?
I mean, I know of
Kim K.
I was going to say
Ariana Grande.
I know of one, maybe two.
So pick between Ariana Grande or Kim Kardashian. Who are you dating, Fish? What's your type?
Well, I don't really know.
I feel like Ariana Grande would be closer to your height.
Yeah, well,
so maybe
you're not wrong.
I'll help you with that one.
Ariana Grande, there we go.
There you go. That's a good answer. You can't go wrong. Jim Cat asks, Stick, mailbag, how'd you come to starting WSN? Fans need an origin story.
Oh!
I mean, you're going to need more than 5 minutes to go through this one. But
yeah, you might need 15 minutes.
Version of it.
Yeah.
You know, we told it a lot when we were first starting the network,
that was a big
we were on the
thing.
morning show,
Yeah.
but obviously this thing has blown up since then. Like I said, been in top 40 radio for about 20 years. Had a really good friend who always told me, do sports, do sports, do sports. I'd be watching a game. I'd say something. The commentator would say it 30 seconds later. They'd be like, oh, why don't you do sports? Love sports. All about sports. She passed away in July of 2020. After she passed away, it was just something that was just playing over in my head. Do sports, do sports, do sports, do sports. So went online, bought woodwardsports.com, registered all the social media. Adham, called Adham because I worked with Adham previously at a marketing company. Adham built the website in a day. We started just rolling, doing podcasts from my couch. Me and Anson was the first fantasy football podcast. It was from my couch.
Yep.
And we just started throwing up content. Lions lost the first game of the season that year on a comeback. I went in my car, did a rant, and
I think I saw that one.
It's got 75,000 views right off the rip. And it was like, okay, people in Detroit want real Detroit sports coverage. You know, there was only one option. I was sick of hearing the same repetitive BS. So started this. Met Chad Johnson, who runs the Lady Janes, who runs Birmingham Roast. He already had a studio here right on Woodward. Ironically, I was like, oh, this is all going to work out.
Yeah.
And he gave us the studio, partnered with the company, and we've been off and running ever since.
And the rest is history.
It's been a wild 2.5 years, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
we were working 19-hour days to start this off, sleeping in the studio, trying to figure out vMix, trying to figure out mics, trying to figure out cameras, lighting, all this stuff that goes into it, but to really do it, it was hard.
Yeah. And to not really have any guidelines, you just kind of wing, and it ended up working out really well. And people who don't know Stick, yes, he founded Woodward Sports, but at the same time, you'll never know it if you just talk to him. I mean, you're willing to help anybody and everybody here, and that's why we love Stick.
Because it ain't about me, man. It's just not about me.
I love
I don't
that
have
mentality.
a show on this network. I
it.
write a little bit now, but this is not the Stick show. This is about growing a Jeff Iafrate, turning you into the voice of Detroit. Because, turning Fish, we talked about it during the break. Watching you young guys blossom, like Gentry now that he has a show with D-Man.
Let's go Red Wings.
This is the future of Detroit sports talk right here, and it doesn't have to be some huge name that everybody knows. Look at Adham. Adham had 2 friends when we started the network. Now he's the best personality we got.
Yeah.
Adam didn't even have a personality before Woodward Sports.
I was saving that for Friday, but he
didn't.
And that's what's funny about Adham too. Like when we first met him, and I was on the morning show with you, Joey, Corey, Fish. We used to, when Adham would come out for the bet segment.
Yeah.
He'd get fired up and he'd leave. It was like his
I
10
would
minutes.
love it.
His 10 minutes of getting fired up.
Adam would come in, slam the table, be all pissed off, and we'd be like, man, there's something here.
And by the way, Fish, before we go, Mike says, ask Fish, what's one thing you've learned from Jeff? Well, I'm interested to see that.
One thing I learned from you?
Hey, what have you even learned from me? I don't think you've learned anything from me.
Well, I mean, I would say positivity. I would say
love that.
The confidence. I mean, you have a lot of confidence just getting up there every morning to talk sports.
Yeah.
The growth has been exponential. I've just enjoyed seeing you grow from, by the way, best school in the land, Specs Howard Unite, from there to here on the desk, doing a show with Adham, now Stick, and then starting off, of course, with Stick. Just Goff's been
And Fish,
fun
if
to
you're talking
watch.
about positivity, you've taught me positivity. I got to tell you that.
Oh,
Fish
is the best employee you could ever imagine.
No
he
question.
shows up every day, great attitude, diligent with what he does. I mean, these live read sheets that we do and stuff like that, he keeps track of. Like, and if they're wrong, he'll text me at 7 in the morning and be like, did you mean to do that? And I'll be like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, he's on his P's and Q's.
Fish is the absolute best. And here's one of my favorite clips of Fish all time.
What is this?
It's about Joik.
Oh, this is what I think it is?
Yeah, Alex,
Fish,
can you
was that a
zoom in
shot?
on this?
Speaking of opinions.
Yeah.
Is it a little bit hot in here after we just got the air fix? So
Is it hot in here still?
Yeah, do we get the air fix
I think
just
it
not
feels
right?
good.
Is that what we're doing? What's up, Fish?
The air was on before the show. If you were here at 10 o'clock, you would have got some air.
That's one of my favorite Fish memories. That and Fish calling Joik a bitch. It's one of my favorite memories of all time of Fish.
Yeah, Fish wants to smoke with anybody and everybody.
And that's when Sean Belizean and Jordan Bell were on the network.
Great time.
That was a great show.
And we had a great time today with you all. Thank you all for tuning into the show.
Shout out to Jeff Iafrate, handling it down,
Jeff
hosting the whole
Iafrate
drama
taking the battle
show.
today.
I try my
Big
best.
commitment. Did a
Hopefully
wonderful
see.
job. Send him all the positivity.
I appreciate you, Fish. I'm sad that it's Wednesday already. Time's flying by. So
I know.
I
How
don't
you
want to
not?
see it go.
I look at my
But
watch and woof.
it's going to be a special next 2 days. We'll see if Adham is able to return.
Hopefully
Hope you
he
feel
is.
better, my man. But thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Drop a like, show support. Check out the website, articles, merchandise, you name it, the website's got it. But thank you, Stick, by the way,
Yeah,
coming in,
Sam Stick
helping
Day,
out.
shout out.
Helping out.
Thanks for the 750 phone call.
There you go, baby. There you go. But until tomorrow, the Morning Woodward Show. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Happy Wednesday. Go enjoy all the sports today. How do you know?